Right now, in this moment, your brain is running a calculation you will never consciously say. It started the moment things got hard, the moment the task felt too heavy, the moment the pain crept in, the moment your chest tightened and your hands wanted to let go. Something deep inside your skull began counting down. And at the end of that countdown, a decision was already made before you made it. You think you choose to quit, but the real answer is far stranger than that. The decision to give up is not yours. It never was. 7 seconds, that is the window. 7 seconds before you consciously feel like quitting, your brain has already begun shutting the operation down. It has already started pulling resources away from your muscles, dimming the signal to your prefrontal cortex, and flooding your body with a very specific cocktail of neurochemicals designed to make stopping feel like relief. By the time the thought, "I can't do this," surfaces in your conscious mind, the verdict has already been delivered. You are just receiving the paperwork. This is not a flaw. This is one of the oldest survival systems your ancestors ever built. Think about where your brain was designed. Not in an office, not in a gym, not at a desk with a deadline. Your brain was designed in a world where wasting energy was the same as dying. Every calorie your ancient ancestors burned had to be justified. Every physical effort had to be weighed against survival. And so, somewhere deep in your evolutionary history, your brain developed a system that monitors effort in real time and calculates at every moment whether continuing is worth the cost. Neuroscientist Samuele Marcora at the University of Kent has spent years studying this system. He calls it the psychobiological model of exercise tolerance. But the core idea translates far beyond running on a treadmill. What Marcora found is that the decision to stop, whether you are lifting a weight, enduring a difficult conversation, or pushing through a creative block, is not determined by your physical limits. It is determined by your perception of effort versus your perception of reward. Your brain is not asking, "Can I continue?" It is asking, "Is continuing worth it?" And it asks that question 7 seconds before you do. The signal begins in a region called the Anterior Cingulate Cortex. This is the part of your brain that monitors conflict, the gap between what you are doing and what your body wants to do. When that gap gets too wide, the Anterior Cingulate Cortex fires a warning signal, not a gentle suggestion, a fire alarm. And that alarm cascades through your nervous system in a very specific sequence. First, dopamine begins to drop. The reward signal weakens. The thing you were working towards starts to feel less real, less worth it. Then cortisol rises. Your body begins interpreting the effort as a threat rather than a challenge. And finally, a region called the insular cortex, sometimes called the island of Ryle, begins amplifying every unpleasant sensation in your body. The burning in your muscles, the tightness in your chest, the weight of the task pressing down on your mind. Your brain turns up the volume on all of it, on purpose. Because your brain wants you to stop. Not because it hates you, because it loves you in the oldest possible way. It is running the same program it ran for your ancestors on the savannah, in the cave, on the frozen tundra. Stop before you collapse. Save something in reserve. Live to try again tomorrow. The problem is that tomorrow has changed. The threats have changed, the effort has changed, but the brain has not. Researcher Kelly McGonigal at Stanford calls this the stress is harmful belief trap. When your brain signals that something is hard, you instinctively interpret that signal as a warning to stop. Because for most of human history, that is exactly what it was. But in the modern world, the signal that says, "This is hard," is often the same signal that says, "This is important." your brain cannot tell the difference. It is using ancient hardware to process a completely new kind of world. So, what actually happens in those 7 seconds? Your muscles have not failed. Your oxygen supply has not run out. Your body has more in reserve than your brain is willing to admit. Studies by physiologist Tim Noakes at the University of Cape Town introduced what he called the central governor theory. The idea that fatigue is not a physical state, but a protective emotion, manufactured by the brain to prevent you from getting too close to your actual limits. Your brain throttles your output before you reach maximum capacity. It builds in a buffer, and it enforces that buffer by making stopping feel like relief and continuing feel like suffering. This is why elite athletes describe a second wind. The second wind is not a physical event. It is a negotiation. It is the moment when the brain receives new information. A finish line, a crowd, a burst of music, a rival pulling ahead, and recalculates. The reward suddenly outweighs the cost. The shutdown signal reverses. Energy that was being held in reserve floods back into the system. It was always there. Your brain was just not convinced it was worth spending. 7 seconds before you give up, your brain made a budget decision, and like all budget decisions, it can be interrupted. This is where the research becomes genuinely strange, because what neuroscientists have discovered is that the 7-second window, that countdown before the quit signal reaches your conscious mind, is also a window of intervention. And the most powerful intervention does not come from willpower. It does not come from motivational self-talk. It comes from a single specific shift in attention. Marcora's research showed that what you focus on in the final seconds before quitting dramatically changes the brain's cost-benefit calculation. When subjects focused on their internal sensations, the burn, the weight, the discomfort, they quit faster and reported higher perceived effort. But when their attention was redirected outward, to a goal, a person, an image, a sound, the anterior cingulate cortex received a different input. The conflict signal weakened, the shutdown was delayed, not because the physical reality changed, because the brain's interpretation of that reality changed. Your brain does not respond to facts, it responds to meaning. This is why humans have always pushed through pain in groups. Your ancestors did not endure together because they were sentimental. They endured together because the presence of others rewires the brain's effort calculation. Researcher Emma Cohen at Oxford has studied synchronized group effort, rowing, chanting, marching, drumming, and found that performing physically demanding tasks in rhythmic synchrony with others dramatically raises pain tolerance and endurance. The brain reads social connection as a signal that the effort is worth it. That continuing matters. That stopping would cost something more than the effort itself. This is an old technology, older than language, older than tools. Every war drum, every work song, every chant before battle, every group of humans pushing through something unbearable together. They were all doing the same thing. They were hacking the 7-second window. They were feeding the brain a signal strong enough to override the shutdown. And here is the counterintuitive twist that changes everything. The brain that decides to give up is not weak. It is efficient. It is doing exactly what it was built to do, conserving energy, protecting the body, keeping you alive for another day. The brain that pushes through is not stronger. It is simply better informed. It has received a signal in those final 7 seconds that the cost of stopping is higher than the cost of continuing. It has been given a reason that the ancient system recognizes as valid. You do not override your brain with willpower. You give your brain better information. So, the next time you feel that familiar sensation, the weight, the burn, the creeping thought that you cannot do this. Understand what is actually happening. Your anterior cingulate cortex has fired. Your dopamine has dipped. Your insular cortex is turning up the volume. And somewhere in the circuitry of your mind, a countdown that began 7 seconds ago is reaching 0. But 0 is not the end. 0 is a door. And on the other side of that door is not superhuman strength. It is not willpower forged in fire. It is something far simpler and far older. It is a reason, a person, a finish line, a sound. Anything your brain can interpret as proof that continuing is worth the cost. Your ancestors crossed glaciers with that knowledge. They built civilizations with it. They survived everything the planet threw at them using the same brain, with the same 7-second window, and the same ancient cost-benefit calculation running beneath every choice they ever made. Tonight, when something gets hard, and something will get hard, your brain will begin its countdown. The question is not whether you can feel it. You will feel it. The question is what you feed it in those 7 seconds. Because right now, in this moment, your brain is running a calculation you will never consciously see. And for the first time, you know exactly how to change the answer.